Have you ever noticed how the world often teaches a woman that her value is waiting somewhere outside of herself? It tells her she will be complete when someone chooses her, protects her, provides for her, or gives her permission to dream. But what if that story was never the truth? What if the greatest power a woman could ever possess was the quiet certainty that she already carries everything she needs within her own spirit? There is a remarkable kind of strength that cannot be bought, borrowed, or handed over by another person. It is the strength that grows when a woman learns to trust her own voice before she listens to the noise of the world. It is the confidence that rises after disappointment, the wisdom that follows struggle, and the courage to stand even when no one is standing beside her. A woman who does not depend on a man is not rejecting love, kindness, or partnership. She is rejecting fear. She refuses to believe that her future belongs in someone else's hands. She understands that love should never be a rescue mission. It should be a meeting of two whole souls who have already learned how to walk on their own. And when a woman discovers that truth, something extraordinary begins to happen. She stops asking for permission to exist boldly. She stops shrinking to fit expectations that were never designed for her freedom. She begins to build a life that reflects her own dreams instead of someone else's limitations. Her independence is not loud, arrogant, or hostile. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted, like a tree that has survived every storm because its strength was always beneath the surface. Today we are not simply talking about independence. We are talking about the kind of inner power that transforms fear into faith, dependence into purpose, and ordinary lives into extraordinary examples of courage. We are exploring what happens when a woman realizes that the greatest relationship she will ever have is the one she builds with herself. Because from that place of wholeness, every decision becomes stronger, every dream becomes clearer, and every step forward becomes an act of freedom. A woman's greatest strength does not begin with the applause of the world, the approval of society, or the presence of someone who tells her she is enough. It begins in the quiet place where she decides to believe in her own worth. Self-worth is not something that appears overnight. It is built through countless moments of choosing herself, trusting her instincts, and refusing to measure her value by the opinions of others. From an early age, many women are surrounded by messages that suggest they must earn love, prove their usefulness, or fit impossible standards before they deserve respect. These expectations slowly create the illusion that their identity depends on how others see them. Yet the strongest women eventually discover a different truth. Their value has never depended on external validation because it has always existed within them. When a woman understands her worth, she no longer chases acceptance at the cost of her peace. She realizes that saying yes to everything is not kindness, and saying no is not selfishness. She learns to protect her energy, her dreams, and her dignity because she recognizes that they are precious. This understanding changes the way she speaks, the way she works, and the way she builds relationships. She no longer seeks approval from people who fail to appreciate her character. Instead, she invests her time in becoming the best version of herself, knowing that genuine respect begins with self-respect. True self-worth also transforms the way a woman responds to failure. Instead of allowing mistakes to define her, she treats them as lessons that shape her wisdom. She understands that every setback carries an opportunity to grow stronger, more patient, and more capable. Rather than comparing her journey with someone else's success, she focuses on her own progress. She celebrates small victories because she knows that lasting confidence is built one courageous step at a time. Confidence is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. A woman who values herself also refuses to remain in places where she is constantly diminished. Whether in friendships, workplaces, or personal relationships, she recognizes the difference between constructive criticism and constant disrespect. She understands that love without respect is incomplete, and success without inner peace is empty. Because of this awareness, she chooses environments where she can grow instead of merely survive. She knows that protecting her emotional well-being is not a luxury, but a necessity. Self-worth also inspires independence in the deepest sense. It encourages a woman to develop her skills, pursue education, build financial stability, and strengthen her emotional resilience. She does these things not because she wants to prove she needs no one, but because she refuses to become trapped by fear or dependency. She knows that having the ability to stand on her own feet gives her the freedom to make choices based on purpose rather than desperation. It allows her to love without losing herself and to give without emptying her own spirit. Perhaps the most beautiful quality of self-worth is that it cannot be taken away by rejection, criticism, or temporary failure. It remains steady because it is rooted in character rather than circumstances. Beauty may fade, trends may change, opportunities may come and go, but a woman who truly knows her worth carries an inner confidence that grows stronger with every challenge she overcomes. She walks into every room with quiet assurance, not because she believes she is better than others, but because she no longer questions whether she belongs. She understands that her voice deserves to be heard, her dreams deserve to be pursued, and her life deserves to be lived with courage, dignity, and unwavering belief in the value she has always possessed. Independence is often misunderstood as isolation, as though choosing to stand on your own means rejecting love, companionship, or the comfort of shared experiences. In reality, independence is not about pushing people away. It is about ensuring that your happiness, identity, and purpose are never held hostage by someone else's presence or absence. A woman who is truly independent does not build walls around her heart. Instead, she builds a strong foundation beneath her feet. She understands that relationships should add meaning to her life, not become the only reason she feels complete. This kind of freedom allows her to make decisions based on wisdom instead of fear, confidence instead of insecurity, and purpose instead of desperation. A woman who embraces independence discovers the beauty of knowing herself. She learns what brings her peace, what fuels her passion, and what values she refuses to compromise. She spends time developing her talents, expanding her knowledge, and strengthening her character because she understands that personal growth is one of the greatest investments she can ever make. She no longer waits for someone else to rescue her dreams or create opportunities on her behalf. Instead, she becomes the author of her own story, accepting both the responsibility and the privilege of shaping her future. Freedom also gives a woman the ability to choose rather than settle. When she is not dependent on another person for her emotional or financial security, she is able to evaluate relationships with clarity. She is not searching for someone to fill an empty space within her because she has already learned to appreciate her own company. This changes the entire nature of love. Instead of clinging to relationships out of fear of being alone, she remains only where there is mutual respect, honesty, and genuine care. She understands that walking away from what diminishes her is sometimes the greatest act of self-respect. Independence also creates resilience during life's most difficult seasons. Every person experiences disappointment, rejection, and unexpected loss. A woman who has cultivated inner strength knows that these moments may shake her, but they will not destroy her. She trusts her ability to rebuild, adapt, and begin again. Rather than seeing obstacles as permanent defeats, she views them as opportunities to grow wiser and stronger. Each challenge teaches her something valuable about patience, courage, and perseverance, making her more prepared for whatever comes next. Being independent does not mean refusing help when it is genuinely needed. Wisdom lies in recognizing the difference between accepting support and surrendering responsibility for your own life. Strong women understand that asking for guidance, learning from others, and leaning on trusted people during difficult moments are signs of maturity, not weakness. The difference is that they never expect someone else to carry the entire weight of their existence. They remain accountable for their choices and committed to creating the life they desire. An independent woman also becomes a source of inspiration for those around her. Her confidence encourages other women to believe in themselves. Her determination reminds young girls that their dreams are worth pursuing. Her ability to overcome challenges demonstrates that courage is not reserved for extraordinary people, but is developed through ordinary decisions made consistently over time. Without seeking attention, she quietly proves that strength is built through discipline, integrity, and faith in one's own abilities. Perhaps the greatest gift of independence is the freedom to live authentically. A woman who depends on her own wisdom and values is no longer controlled by the fear of disappointing others or failing to meet unrealistic expectations. She chooses her path with intention, speaks with honesty, and acts according to her principles, even when doing so is difficult. Her life becomes an expression of who she truly is, rather than a performance designed to earn approval. In that freedom, she discovers a lasting sense of peace that no external circumstance can easily take away, allowing every choice she makes to reflect confidence, purpose, and the quiet certainty that her life belongs to her alone. A woman's confidence becomes truly unshakable when it is built on more than hope or circumstance. It grows from three powerful pillars that strengthen every part of her life: financial stability, emotional resilience, and spiritual grounding. These qualities do not make her distant or unapproachable. Instead, they give her the freedom to live with purpose, make wise decisions, and face life's uncertainties without losing herself. Together, they create a foundation that cannot be easily shaken by rejection, hardship, or changing circumstances because they are rooted within rather than dependent on what exists outside. Financial confidence is not about wealth, luxury, or chasing status. It is about having the knowledge and ability to support yourself with dignity. A woman who understands money values education, develops practical skills, and works toward financial independence because she knows that security provides choices. She does not have to remain in unhealthy environments simply because she has no other option. She is free to pursue meaningful work, invest in her future, and make decisions that align with her values rather than her fears. Financial stability gives her the courage to walk away from situations that compromise her self-respect and the confidence to build a future based on opportunity instead of survival. She understands that earning her own success is not just about income. It is about creating a life where she has the freedom to choose her direction. Emotional confidence is equally important because life will always present moments of disappointment, criticism, and uncertainty. A woman who is emotionally strong does not pretend that pain does not exist. She allows herself to experience sadness, disappointment, and frustration without allowing those emotions to define her identity. She understands that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent rulers of her life. Instead of reacting impulsively to every challenge, she learns to pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom. This emotional maturity allows her to communicate with honesty, forgive without forgetting important lessons, and protect her peace without becoming bitter. She recognizes that healing is a process, and every difficult experience can become a source of greater understanding and compassion. Spiritually grounded women possess a different kind of confidence, one that remains steady even when everything around them changes. Their faith, values, and sense of purpose remind them that their identity is not determined by success, failure, praise, or criticism. They understand that every season of life carries meaning, even the painful ones. Spiritual confidence gives them hope when circumstances seem uncertain and humility when life brings success. It encourages gratitude instead of constant comparison and strengthens the belief that their lives have value beyond achievements or material possessions. This inner connection becomes a quiet source of peace that no external challenge can easily destroy. When these three forms of confidence come together, they transform the way a woman approaches every area of life. She no longer feels pressured to seek validation from people who fail to recognize her worth because she already knows where her value comes from. She enters relationships with love instead of need, careers with purpose instead of fear, and challenges with determination instead of doubt. She becomes capable of making thoughtful decisions because she is guided by wisdom rather than insecurity. Her independence is not built on pride, but on preparation, discipline, and self-belief. This kind of foundation also inspires those around her. Children observe her strength and learn the importance of responsibility. Friends find encouragement in her resilience during difficult moments. Colleagues respect her integrity because she remains consistent even under pressure. Without demanding attention, she becomes living proof that lasting confidence is not created by appearance, popularity, or temporary success. It is created by investing in the parts of yourself that no one can take away. Financial wisdom equips her to stand firmly in practical matters. Emotional resilience protects her peace through life's storms. And spiritual confidence keeps her heart anchored in purpose, allowing her to move forward with grace, courage, and unwavering conviction, regardless of the circumstances she encounters. Love reaches its highest and healthiest form when it is given freely rather than out of necessity. There is a profound difference between choosing someone because they enrich your life and needing someone because you believe you cannot survive without them. A woman who understands this truth approaches relationships from a place of wholeness instead of emptiness. She does not search for another person to complete her because she has already discovered her own identity, purpose, and worth. Her heart remains open to love, but it is never dependent on it for survival. This mindset transforms relationships into partnerships built on mutual respect rather than emotional dependence. When love becomes a choice instead of a necessity, fear begins to lose its power. Many unhealthy relationships continue, not because love is present, but because one or both people are afraid of being alone. Fear convinces them that any relationship is better than no relationship at all. It whispers that leaving means failure, that solitude is unbearable, and that happiness cannot exist without another person's constant presence. A woman who has built confidence in herself refuses to let fear dictate her decisions. She understands that loneliness is temporary, but sacrificing her dignity, peace, and self-respect can leave lasting wounds. Because she values herself, she would rather wait for genuine love than settle for a relationship built on insecurity. Choosing love freely also allows honesty to flourish. A woman who is emotionally secure does not pretend to be someone she is not simply to gain acceptance. She expresses her thoughts with kindness, communicates her needs with confidence, and respects the opinions of others without abandoning her own values. She understands that authentic love does not require constant performance or endless attempts to earn approval. Instead, it grows through trust, sincerity, and mutual understanding. When both people enter a relationship as complete individuals, they create a bond where encouragement replaces control and appreciation replaces possession. A relationship based on choice also encourages growth rather than limitation. Instead of seeing each other's independence as a threat, both partners celebrate it. They inspire one another to pursue dreams, develop talents, and become stronger individuals. Success is shared instead of envied, and challenges are faced together rather than used as opportunities for blame. In this environment, love becomes a source of strength rather than a burden. It supports personal growth because neither person feels responsible for carrying the entire weight of the other's happiness. Each understands that true fulfillment begins within, and that a healthy relationship simply adds joy to an already meaningful life. A woman who chooses love rather than depends on it also develops healthier boundaries. She knows that kindness does not require accepting disrespect, and that forgiveness does not mean tolerating repeated harm. She listens to her intuition when something feels wrong and has the courage to address problems instead of ignoring them. If a relationship consistently damages her emotional well-being, she understands that walking away is not an act of weakness, but of wisdom. Her ability to leave unhealthy situations comes from the confidence that her value is not tied to another person's decision to stay or go. This perspective also changes the way she experiences love itself. She celebrates companionship without losing her individuality. She gives generously without abandoning her own needs. She supports others without sacrificing her own dreams. Her happiness does not disappear when circumstances change because it was never built entirely on another person. Instead, it comes from the life she has intentionally created and the person she has worked hard to become. Love becomes an extension of her joy rather than the source of it, allowing her relationships to be filled with freedom, trust, respect, and genuine affection instead of fear, dependence, or constant uncertainty, creating a bond where two complete individuals walk side by side because they choose each other every single day rather than because they believe they have no other path. One of the most powerful qualities of a self-reliant woman is that her influence extends far beyond her own life. She may never realize how many people are watching her, learning from her, and drawing strength from the way she faces life's challenges. Every decision she makes with courage, every obstacle she overcomes with dignity, and every dream she pursues with determination becomes a silent lesson for those who come after her. Her example reminds others that true strength is not measured by how loudly a person speaks or how much attention they received, but by the quiet consistency with which they remain faithful to their values. She teaches that character is built through everyday choices, and those choices create a legacy that can inspire generations. A self-reliant woman understands that courage is not the absence of fear. She experiences uncertainty just like everyone else, but she refuses to let fear become the author of her future. When opportunities appear, she is willing to step forward even if success is not guaranteed. When setbacks occur, she chooses perseverance over surrender. Her resilience sends a powerful message to young girls who may believe they are too weak, too ordinary, or too limited to achieve their dreams. By simply living with confidence and purpose, she proves that greatness is not reserved for a fortunate few, but is available to anyone willing to grow through discipline, patience, and determination. Dignity is another gift she passes on through her example. She treats herself with respect and expects others to do the same, not because she believes she is superior, but because she understands her own worth. She speaks with kindness without allowing herself to be silenced. She remains humble without becoming invisible. She forgives without forgetting the lessons that hardship has taught her. Even in moments of disagreement, she chooses wisdom over bitterness and integrity over revenge. Her conduct demonstrates that strength does not require harshness, and that confidence does not demand arrogance. It is possible to be both compassionate and firm, gentle and fearless, humble and powerful at the same time. Purpose gives direction to everything she does. She does not wake each day simply to meet expectations or satisfy the opinions of others. Instead, she seeks to live in a way that reflects her deepest values and aspirations. Whether she is raising a family, building a career, serving her community, or pursuing education, she approaches her responsibilities with intention. She understands that meaningful work is not defined by public recognition, but by the positive impact it creates. Her purpose keeps her moving forward during difficult seasons because she knows that temporary struggles do not erase lasting goals. The influence of such a woman often reaches people she may never meet. Children observe her perseverance and learn that challenges are opportunities rather than excuses. Friends witness her honesty and become inspired to live more authentically. Colleagues admire her dedication and begin believing more deeply in their own potential. Communities become stronger when women choose responsibility over excuses, hope over despair, and action over hesitation. Her life becomes evidence that one person's courage can create a ripple effect, encouraging countless others to believe that they too can rise above fear and limitation. Perhaps her greatest legacy is not found in awards, titles, or material success, but in the confidence she awakens in others. She gives people permission to dream without apology, to stand without fear, and to trust that their worth is not determined by circumstances or the approval of those around them. She demonstrates that independence is not about proving superiority, but about embracing responsibility for one's own life with grace and determination. Through every challenge she faces and every victory she earns, she leaves behind an example that continues to inspire long after her words have faded, reminding future generations that courage, dignity, and purpose have the power to transform not only one life, but the lives of everyone touched by their unwavering example.